We've got one now. Henry, come Gordon.
Hello there, my name's Dane Lemaitre. Welcome to the video. And so here we have the Bachmann Paxton. I'm sure you'll agree it's a very, very good model. And just looking at it, I can tell you I really like the fact that obviously it's got the ladders there, the brake pipes, side rods. Literally everything, the detail is absolutely superb. I mean, as you probably saw on the back there, Paxton has a black buffer beam. But you may actually remember, and looking at this photo here from the television series, that Paxton has a black buffer beam on his back. I would say that the buffer beam on his front, the orange or red colour looks a bit too bright. Again, looking at this photo here from the television series, you can sort of see it as more of a bronzy sort of colour, orangey sort of colour, like a dull sort of colour, like his side rods here. And the side rods are absolutely superb. And on models like this and Stepney, obviously who's got red side rods, when they're coloured side rods, I think they look so much nicer. And from a distance, I enjoy watching them go round and round, sort of thing, really. So that's the advantages of when engines have different coloured side rods as opposed to just plain silver ones. But yeah, this model, Paxton, I think, is absolutely superb. And Paxton, as you know, has only ever appeared in the CGI animated version of the show. He was never in the series when the show was made using models. First appeared in Day of the Diesels, mainly in the background. A little bit like Sydney, he was only in the background, but then after he got his wheels, he started appearing a lot more sort of regularly. And like Paxton, Sydney's a Class of 8 shunter. And there just seems so many Class of 8 shunters now, which I'll talk to you about a bit later. But yeah, Paxton appears now to work at the Blue Mountain Quarry alongside the other narrow gauge engines. And again, like I said, I think his side rods are really good. Look like his side rods in the television series. Paxton is also a very sort of heavily weathered engine, with bits of paint and that missing, like little chips, so quite heavily weathered, a bit like Salty. So yeah, I think it's a really good model of Paxton overall. The face, I didn't know what to make of his face at first. I thought it looked a little bit odd. But I've sort of got used to it now, and again, I think his face looks just like it does in the television series of the show. And I think it might just be something simple, like his nose and mouth and eyes could just be a little bit lower and not so high up, then it might not look quite so odd. But apart from that, like I said, I do think they have done a really good job on the face overall. So this is the packaging for the Bachmann Paxton. And as you can see, it is the same as what Rosie came in. You can see a picture of Rosie here, and next to Rosie is Terence in the old style packaging. I do sort of miss the old style packaging in a way, really, I think it's fair to say. It reminded me of what the some of the old Ertls came in, the blue type packaging that some of the old Ertls came in. But nevertheless, they do say that things change, and obviously the same packaging as well, really. But with Rosie, I am pleased though that they released her in her old livery, because as you know, Rosie came back to the television series recently from a brand new livery. She now has number 37 on her side and North Western Railway NWO on her side. And they made a big thing about Rosie coming back, but then she only spoke in Journey Beyond Sodor on one of the episodes. And with Hit Entertainment, they've gone on about having more female characters and that. And the thing is, over the years, there's been the opportunity to have female characters, and also ones like Molly as well, and Millie. But then they very rarely appear, so if they're not going to appear that much, really, the characters are there, but they're not appearing that much, really. So But yeah, this is the packaging. So you've got CGI Thomas in the corner there, and on the back it shows you all the other ones you can buy, and it mentions that Paxton's eyes move from side to side as he goes round, like all the other Bachmann engines. By the looks of it, that still there of Paxton is clearly, to me, a prototype because his face looks a bit strange. Also there it mentions that Grumpy Diesel, they brought out Diesel recently in Bachmann with a grumpy face, and you probably saw a few months ago I got the other Bachmann Diesel with that sort of happy face, which I did a review about before. Another thing with Paxton as well is that he is a diesel shunter, a Class 08 shunter, and I was saying to someone the other day that nowadays in the television series, obviously it's now all CGI animated, the whole sort of diesel team seems to consist of mainly just diesel shunters. And I mean, there was Diesel 10 as well. He's not a diesel shunter, but then he's not really appeared that much. The only character that really, the only diesel that is different is Daisy, the diesel rail car. She's not a diesel shunter. And then I mean, there's also been Etienne, but again, he was a one-off sort of character in the Great Race. And there is Hugo as well, and he's only really appeared a few times, and he was last seen in the special Journey Beyond Sodor. I don't know if we're going to see him again. But in the Railway series, there used to be so many different types of diesel locomotive, and there was obviously diesel shunters as well, obviously Diesel himself being one of them. But there used to be such a more of a variety, really. I think it's quite a shame, really. But you never know, they might end up bringing other diesels into the show that are slightly different, or old ones coming back. You never know, really. I got this model of Paxton from a shop called Toothley Thomas. Toothley Thomas is a shop that's online, sells all things Thomas. You can just go on the website and have a look. They've got Bachmann, Ertl, you name it, they've got literally everything that's Thomas. Quite a good shop. And it's based in Rushden. Then also in Rushden is a toy shop called Osborne Sports and Toys. And Osborne's has been there for 63 years now. And also at Rushden is a railway station. And at the railway station they have Blue Circle, which is Fergus's basis. And a friend of mine is also raising money there for a tank engine called Sherwell. And I've left the link in the description of this video to his fundraising page. You don't have to donate, but obviously if you're interested and want to help, then please donate if you can. It'd be much appreciated. And when I was there at the Transport Museum the other day, it was Armed Forces Day, and I saw the Red Arrows come over, and the Battle of Britain Memorial Force as well. That was really interesting. If I had to give this model of Paxton a score, I'd happily give it a 10 out of 10, because I think the detail is absolutely superb, and yet again another really good model by Bachmann. I don't know why really, but I am very surprised that Bachmann made this. Obviously, as I said earlier, they made Rosie, and when Rosie first appeared, I thought to myself, I wish that Hornby or whatever would make her. Obviously, Hornby didn't. And you probably heard in the news recently as well that Hornby are stopping making the Thomas range. In my latest Hornby magazine that I got while I was on holiday, just something to read in the evenings. In the front, as you open it, there's an advert for Thomas Hornby, so I assume they're stopping them at the end of the year. But I know a volunteer by the name of Martin Percy who lives in Wellingborough like myself, and he's a volunteer at the Northampton Landport Railway, and there they used to do days out with Thomas, but they had to stop it because it just got so expensive. And if they're not making any money out of it, they can't really do it because they need to obviously be making the money, to keep the railway going. And the Northampton Landport Railway is quite a good railway that I reckon you go to. But like I said, I think the models that Bachmann produce are absolutely fantastic. But don't get me wrong, I think there's been some really, really good Hornby ones as well. And I think my two definite favourites would have to be Spencer and Murdoch in the Hornby range, and also Oliver and Stepney. Like I said, there's been some really, really good models made over the years. I had a little run of this Paxton, and I'm sure you'll agree, he runs really well indeed. Before I ever film my videos, I always like to run the model first and film it sort of live, just to make sure that it works okay. But never so far have I ever had a model that doesn't work first time. But so this model ran absolutely fantastically at the first time. And as I said, the eyes move from side to side as well, which is quite nice. So this is the first run of Paxton. This could either go very well or very wrong. We'll see. But now the moment of truth, does this model work? Yes. I've never had a brand new model ever not work before, but this one does work very well, as you can see here.